This is a video for Lab 7, Investigation 2, Series and Parallel Combinations of Resistors. If you have not yet made your prediction 2-1, pause the video and make that prediction right now. I have here three resistors, 51 ohm resistors. And the funny thing is when I look at these color bands, it looks like this one right here, it looks like it's gray red, but I know from the previous activity that's actually a green, red, black, and then gold. And so this was the same as the first resistor we had in our table when we were comparing resistance measured with a multimeter to the code on here to the resistance measured by putting it in a circuit and running a current through it and measuring the potential difference across it. All right, let's go ahead and make some connections. On page 136, we're going to measure these resistances individually. So I'm going to turn on my multimeter. I'm using my the multimeter from my basement because it is giving me more consistent readings than the ones from school. I'm going to then put this first one across, and we see for the first one has a reading of 51 point, we'll call that 50, well, it's jumping around a little bit. I just said the other one on this was more consistent. Sometimes I think it has to do with how good the contact is here, how well I'm pushing this to the metal tips. So I'm going to try to get a good contact, and there we see 50.5. That'll be R1, 50.5. I'll put that down and grab the second one. This one has a reading of, push this in here. Okay, I'm missing the middle on the left side. Here we go. Maybe if I put it on the table, and no, I think that, no, actually, I think this is going to be my best way to get it pushed middle in there. And we have a reading of 50.6 for the second one. And for the third one, I'm going to push the leads into here, and we get a reading of 51.0. So that we have R1, R2, R3. Go ahead and fill that in on your table. To connect these resistors in series, see now I have only two hands. I'm going to use a breadboard to help me out. This breadboard is, I'm putting one end of the resistor into a row up here. I'm putting the other end into a row, and then I put the second resistor into the same row. And essentially that's connecting this resistor to that resistor there. So what I can do now to measure the resistance of the combination, the series combination of resistor 1 and resistor 2, is just hold the red lead to this end over here and hold the black lead, and I know that these two are connected together. So let's see if I can do that. Here we go. And I'm probably going to block this, but I'll tell you what's on the reading. I'm going to hold here and here, and I'm getting a reading of 101.7 ohms for resistors 1 and 2 connected in series. All right, I've added the resistor 3 now so that these are all 1, 2, and 3. And so the breadboard is just helping me hold their ends together. And so I'm going to put a lead at the top and a lead at the bottom, and we'll see what the resistance reads for this three resistors in series. Pushing that against each other, and I'm reading on my multimeter 152.3. 152.3. All right, we're ready for activity 2-2, but notice that there's a prediction to make first. If you've not yet made prediction 2-2, go ahead and pause it. And actually, make sure you've answered questions 2-1, 2-2, and 2-3 first. That's going to help you in making your prediction 2-2. So pause the video, fill out all of the questions, and make your prediction 2-2, and then continue on. connected these two resistors, now you'll notice that they're in parallel to each other, but what makes them parallel is not where they're sitting. Before they were all on one string, but now I put their ends into the same rows. That connects this wire to that wire, and that connects their two ends together by putting them in the same row. It connects them. So I'm ready to test out the resistance of two resistors that are in parallel. And my multimeter says 25.5. 25.5. Now it's kind of fluctuating. Now it's 25.4. So 25.4, 25.5 ohms of resistance for two in parallel. All right, we're ready for the next part for activity 2.2 or 2-2, and that is putting all three resistors in parallel. These resistors, their ends are all in the same. These ends are all in row 1, and these ends are all in row 8, and that connects all of their ends together. So I can hold the leads against one of them and measure the resistance of all three connected in parallel. Let's see what the multimeter gives me, and I get a reading of 17.0 ohms. That completes activity 2.2. Pause the video. Actually, I'm going to stop the video and I'll make a new one for extensions 2.3 and 2.4. Answer all the questions now. Think about them, and then you move on to the next video.